Did you know worry is natural?
Mindful Dads.
Hey everyone, welcome to Mindful Dads. I'm Alan, and today we're going to talk about worry. And worry from a perspective of just normalising it and seeing it as a natural emotion, just as all the other emotions are. So how we're going to talk about it today is imagining it from a natural perspective. Now, let's take it back to the good old caveman years of when we were out in the wilderness, hunting for food, looking for all sorts of stuff to survive, and we needed worry to help us stay alive and function and thrive as beings. Now, I want you to imagine two perspectives to start with. So, imagine you're a zebra and we're a zebra running through the outback, and we see this big tiger or this lion chase us. So if we're a zebra, as soon as we see this lion chase us, something in the brain switches on and it triggers that stress hormone, it triggers that kind of that response to run because we're scared of something. So we literally run away, and hopefully the zebra gets away, and then the zebra starts to feel calm because there's no threat around him whatsoever, and things return to a reasonable balance within the body. Now imagine the same again with the human, the caveman. He sees the lion, that fear response kind of kicks in, and what happens is basically he either fight, flight or freeze. We won't go into that video today, but we've got another video for that, so you can click on any one of the links to understand kind of what that is. So the caveman either runs away or he fights. So he's got the same kind of stuff going on as the zebra. Physiologically, it's exactly the same. The heart's pounding, the stress hormones kicking in, and we're basically just either fighting or kind of running and getting out of that situation. Now, what the difference is with humans compared to other animals is, now imagine that caveman getting back to his cave. His wife and kids are there. They're all sat down watching Netflix. And what's the first thing he says to his wife? "You never guess what happened to me today. I got chased by this massive lion." And he starts to worry about it, even though he's not there with the lion anymore. So cast your mind back to the zebra. Zebra doesn't see any threats around him whatsoever, and the balance of that body and mind with regards to the zebra kind of just brings back down to a balance, and there's no threat going on. With humans, we have this big bit of the brain which has lots of things such as problem solving, complex problem solving, imagination and everything else. Now, when Dave the caveman gets back to the cave, he starts to think, he starts to imagine what would happen if that lion had caught him, and he starts to then worry about it. So worry can be a good thing for us, but it can also be of our demise if we kind of let that worry get hold of us in some way. And people who worry long term, then what tends to happen then is that worry, which is a natural feeling, then starts to kind of go into a long-term worry, and which we call anxiety. And we start to worry a lot about lots of things that happen in our life. So let's cast our mind back to that caveman. Now, what I'm going to kind of talk about now is just a little bit around how it works in the brain. Because what happens these days is we tend to worry about things, and then we worry about the worry, and then we worry about the worry about the worry. And it goes on and on and on. It's this vicious cycle that goes round and round and round. Now, if we can understand how it works physiologically, how that worry happens in the brain, then we kind of don't blame ourselves as much. You know, working in mental health, particularly the last kind of 10 years or so, what I hear a lot of, and this has happened to me also, is when we worry about something or when we get anxious about something, we tend to blame ourselves. I shouldn't be worrying about that. There's a lot of people worse off than I am and all the rest of the stuff. And we tend to blame ourselves that we're worrying about something. But it's natural. It's a natural response to things in your life. Now, if you haven't got the tiger there running after you, or haven't got the lion running after you, your brain doesn't know that. It's just, what will happen is we'll look for something else to worry about. And this day and age, if you're in a safe environment, then we'll worry about the washing machine breaking, or we'll worry about the car breaking down. The key in this situation is to allow that worry to pass, but also, first of all, it's allowing the understanding to sink in. Why do we worry? And if we can understand why we worry, then these feelings don't get hold of us and turn into long-term kind of issues around anxiety and the rest of the things. So let's break it down to its very basic. In the brain, we've got a thing called the amygdala. And that amygdala is responsible for switching on when we see a threat or when we feel a worry of some sort, and it pumps out a lot of stress hormone in your system to get you ready for a fight or a flight. Basic as you get. Now, that's very helpful in short-term situations because it's there to protect us. We have survived as a species because of this switch, and all other animals survive because of that. Now let's scoot to the future, and here we are. We're not the caveman anymore, but we still have that switch. And you could call worry and anxiety as the overthink mode in our brains. Cast your mind back to what I said earlier, particularly around the caveman gets back to his cave, tells his family, and he starts to overthink the situation that happened to him 2 hours ago. What if this? What if that? What if that happened? What if that happened? And he starts to just get into this vicious cycle of what if this, what if that, what if that. That's helpful if we use it as growth. It's not helpful if we get into that cycle and then start to get into a vicious circle of worry where there's no outcome. And the only outcome is that we start to worry more. And like I said earlier, we start to worry about the worry about the worry. So there you go. A very brief explanation of what worry is. Hope that is helpful for people. It was when I first heard this narrative of what worry is, it certainly helped me kind of, in my head, understand it from a totally different perspective. That most of us tend to view worry as something which is us and we blame ourselves for it. But when we can understand that it's just a physiological response to things that happen in the world, and most of it's not our fault, then we can start to think, how can we then control this a little bit more? We'll cover that in many videos to come of how we manage or how we use anxiety and worry as an opportunity to learn something or an opportunity to grow from. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and any comments below of how you have grown from anxieties or worry. We'll see you soon.
Mindful Dads.